Hello everyone, this is Dr. Aeronautics and welcome to Oceanstar Mission 5.5. In the previous mission, we made the jump from Silver Rock to Gold Rock, which you can actually see right here. So this silver moon, we transferred to the gold moon, and we're landed here. We need to build a base. So first step, I have already reprogrammed Vacuum Base 2 into the ship's computers, which means it's now selectable on the multifunctional displays. So if I do target spaceports, you'll now see Vacuum Base 2, and I put it basically at the location of the ship. And then the objective of this episode is we're going to need to build Vacuum Base 2 with the goal of returning to In-Situ-Resource-Utilization on this moon. So we'll go ahead and jump into a quick review. I'm going to be much faster because I already explained this in mission episode 4.5. But basically, the way this thing works is we're up at a high latitude on the moon here, and the sunlight will strike some solar panels, which will generate some electricity. We'll use that energy in the form of a heater, which we will collect water ice in. We'll use that heater to melt the water ice into a water tank. We'll take that water along with some more power from our solar panels to electrolyze it, and then once electrolyzed, it will produce hydrogen gas at the cathode and oxygen gas at the anode. We will then compress this gas, send the hydrogen to a fuel storage tank, which can then be used to refuel our spacecraft, and the liquid oxygen we will put into a liquid oxygen storage tank, which can then be pumped into the base for us to breathe. Alright, at this point we need to jump over to the Space Viking mothership here so that we can select the cargo that we're going to deploy onto the surface in order to build this thing. Okay, so we're going to go to cargo, and now we need to basically 3D print a number of things here. The first of them is going to be a solar panel package. So if I hit this thing a bunch of times, we should see inflate base solar. I believe that's what we need. Add. Cargo added to ship. So that's the first thing. The next thing that we're going to need is a heater, so we'll select slot 2, and we need to select an Oceanstar heater. Oh, there it is, H2O tank heater. That has been added in slot 2, so we'll select slot 3. The next thing we need to add is a machines pack 1 that contains our electrolyzer and compressor. So yeah, we're selecting slot 3. Oh, right there it is. 1 electrolyzer, 1 compressor. Alright, that's been added to slot 3. In slot 4, we're going to need a water tank, which I can't remember if that's its own thing. I didn't think it was. Yeah, it's not. So we need an inflate-based tank. That's it. Whoops. Add. Okay, that will take care of the water tank. Then we need 2 more tanks. We need a hydrogen tank and an oxygen tank. So another inflate base tank for the hydrogen, another inflate base tank for the oxygen. And then lastly, we need a base control module, which provides us a habitat to live in. So we need inflate base control. And of course, it's the last thing. Okay. Added. So that should give us everything we need. A solar panel package, a heater, machines package 1, a water tank, and then a hydrogen tank, an oxygen tank, and a control module. Okay. So next, what we'll need to do is deploy this stuff to the surface so that we can get it all organized. This is like when you're at a camping trip. This is basically the step where you deploy everything from your vehicle. So we'll go ahead and... Why are we still in a security state? We're in a maneuver state. Let me check the RCS position here.
Translation.
Okay. No, we want rotation, actually. That's the safer option.
Rotation.
And there's no danger at this point, so we'll just go ahead and secure for the maneuver here.
Attention all hands. We are secure from orbital maneuvering. You may resume your duties as usual. Engineering teams, please set engine to standby status.
I must have forgotten to do that when I landed. Anyway, let's try this again. Okay, there it is on the surface. So just to confirm, we have the right thing here. Control module. Okay, that's good. Then we'll add our tanks. Add the water tank. Add the electrolyzer and the compressor. Tank heater and solar module. Okay, so that is a total of 7 cargoes. And we're finished releasing the cargo. So you might be wondering, how in the world do we get all of this here way over here so that it doesn't get damaged when the spacecraft lands? And for that, once I make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be, gears, docking bay, rover lift, crew lift, gravity wheel, lights, we're all set. That is what the rover is for.
Rover lift extending.
And the Runestone rover is now coming down onto the surface.
Crew lift extending.
And we've got an elevator to get the rest of the crew down to the surface.
Crew lift extended.
Okay. We are set. So at this point, we will go ahead and select 2 of our crew to build this thing. I don't think Maria Montoya's done anything yet. That is the public safety advisor from SimCity 3000. I think it's EVA transfer. Actually, wait. Yeah. Active exit crew lift ground. Okay. Yeah, that's important because you don't want to. You get that wrong, they'll pop up. They'll pop up either at the docking bay, which is up here, or way up at the. There's like a roof. I thought there was a roof docking adapter. Okay, here it is. And yeah, they'll fall all the way to the ground. So that's never a good thing. The other person that we'll use, I believe Karen Frawl is the environmental advisor for SimCity 3000. So those 2 individuals are now on the surface. And all we got to do is just have them walk over to the Runestone rover. We'll start that up and start collecting our cargoes. Unfortunately, we can only collect and carry 2 cargoes at a time, which means that I'm going to need to make 4 trips, but we'll only show 1 on screen to keep the run time of the episode down. Okay, Karen Frawl is now aboard. We'll do the same with Ms. Montoya. And as you might guess, the meshes are not set properly. I wish those were easier to do, but I think it resets the mesh every single time you
Too far from airlock.
deboard. Okay, so both are aboard at this point. I do think it's interesting how from Gold Rock you still have the familiar silver rock in the sky, which kind of looks like our moon back home on Earth. Yet you also have the parent planet in the sky. So this is weird. This is like seeing Earth and moon, and yet we're on another moon. The benefits of having a second moon. All right, at this point, I will go ahead and grab the control stick to the rover, and we're going to go ahead and drive over to our cargoes and load those up. Now I need to figure out, okay, so we'll spin around to the left side to get these. And it is extremely important to keep the speeds down here, being this close to the mothership. We definitely don't want any accidents. Alright, we should be clear to make our left turn. We'll come alongside the cargoes. Alright, I believe it's Shift E to get someone off. That is so cool that Thalassa is in the sky right in front of the... it would be so much better if there were like a dashboard and some fuzzy dice up there. Shift... It was not Shift E. And of course the help is of no help. Is it E? Okay, it's E. Alright, so Public Safety Advisor Maria Montoya will be assisting today with the operations here to retrieve the cargo and load it onto the roof. So I'm not exactly sure how this is done. Okay, there it is. So there's a ladder. There's probably a ladder on this side as well. So they would essentially have to, I guess, attach a sling to this and then pull this up the ladder because the storage is put on the roof. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we're going to press C, and that will load the cargo, and I'll do it a second time. So there's now 2 cargo aboard, and unfortunately that's as many as we can carry. Oh, that's good. It looks like we got the solar station, yeah, the tank heater. That's great, because those are the first things that we want to set up, and we can actually EVA a second person from the Leif Erikson 2 to get that going in parallel. But unfortunately, if I tap C again, you'll see no cargo in range, unable to load. So the limit is 2 cargoes per trip. So like I said, we're going to have to make 4 trips here, but we'll make that off screen for the most part here.
Too far from airlock.
I'm in the door. Okay, so we'll come back and get the rest of these afterwards. But yeah, it's out and left turn. Is that green soil I see? It looks green over there. That's a little bit weird. So there's definitely a green tint to some stuff over here. It's kind of curious. For those of you that don't spend copious amounts of time researching planetary geology, when you see green stuff on a moon with no atmosphere, there is no way that's grass or moss, if that's what the thought is. Most likely, that is a type of igneous mineral called ovaline, which is generally involved in creating some of the deeper igneous rocks like pyroxenes and things like dunite, Hartsbergite, I think is another one, or it's either that or I'm thinking of the one that's directly underneath the ovaline discontinuity. But yeah, dunite is the big one that comes to mind. There's dunite everywhere on the Earth's moon, and it's great. It's a really hard building material. Great for building. Okay, so we get to decide where to put the base now, and there's generally 3 places we don't want it. Number 1, nowhere near the mothership. Number two, nowhere that's going to block the Leif Erikson 2, and number three, definitely not directly behind it. So the smartest decision would be to get away from both of these, and we'll kind of go in a southeasterly direction over here. Oh, too fast. And we'll get lined up here, due east, and stop. Alright, Montoya is off, so then we'll go ahead and unload the cargo. We switch back to the Runestone Rover. There we go, cargo released. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason the cargo that that I have, that I carry rather, in Oceanstar, the stuff that I developed, I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but it has some compatibility issues with the rover, where it doesn't want to instantiate after it's carried on board. But whatever. Okay, let's get back to Montoya.
Too far from airlock.
Go ahead and hop in. Alright, we're on our way back to the mothership. In the meantime, in the Leif Erikson 2, we can actually have somebody EVA. Let's use Constance.
Egress successful.
And now while the rover's on its way back, we can have Constance set up the solar panels. And we want those to face south.
Unpacking cargo.
Alright, let's see. So our relative heading. Looks like it's close to sunset. Due south is the direction that we're facing. So the goal here is going to be to try and get all of these lined up to due south, which was the direction we were facing, which means we're going to need to add 90 degrees to this and do 270. I don't need to know what the object's name is. That's pretty obvious, so switch back to a ground-based thing, and we'll drop it off at 270, which would put it completely perpendicular. So I think what's going on is it's very early morning right now, which means as ROM rises, it's going to go this way and across and down. Because we are in the northern hemisphere, so the only explanation, or not explanation rather, but the only way to maximize your solar energy in the northern hemisphere is to face the panels south, because south averages out to have the most light on it, given the path that the star takes. I have to say too that that's a little bit of a useless. It drives me crazy. These controls are backwards. It's a little bit of a useless HUD. So yeah, I don't think the MMU controls were very good. So um, rudder is a twisting motion, and when you think of a person yawing, they would essentially be turning left and right. For some reason, the MMU controls are the roll is banking the joystick, which doesn't make much sense. It makes sense if the rotation. Actually, that might be right. Yeah, because a person doing a yaw would be spinning. Okay, I'm just really out of it. All right, so we'll get these lined up nice and straight. I believe we have 5 segments in total. Oh, no. I am absolutely 100% sure right about this. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing with the joystick. All right. So if I twist the joystick, that creates a yaw. The person should also yaw. So here's twisting. And that's a slide. That's something completely different. If I bank the joystick, that would be rolling. That would be the same effect of tipping over. And instead I get twisting motion. And then this is the forward backwards. So I think it is definitely it's definitely messed up and could be done a lot better. Rover's back. So unfortunately, when 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 it picks up these Oceanstar Mission cargoes, it holds on to them and it won't release them. I'm not sure what is going wrong because I followed the instructions that were online at how to create custom UMMU cargoes. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or a legitimate coding issue on my end, but um, we'll get this thing back and then we'll have to do the rest of the stuff off screen because it's just going to take way too long. Going too fast again. My goodness. Alright, while that's going away to get more cargo, we can have Constance work on the high pressure tank. So the first one is going to be for the water, and the water goes through the heater, and the heater we want to plug directly into the solar panels. So that one's going to go first. And then next to it will be this high pressure tank. And then, but we also want it to be far away from the Leif Erikson, which is over that way. So we really should have it on this side. So we'll drop it and you to unpack.
Unpacking cargo.
And then all we got to do now is just rotate this thing into position. So let's see. This is going to be, I want this to plug into the heater. So dump rocks into the heater. And then the heater sends the water to the tank and pressurizes it. All right, I'm going to go get the rest of this cargo. All right, it's done. So we'll go ahead and have Maria Montoya get off again. And yeah, that's right. I've already got all the cargo off. So we'll switch back to constants. And we really need to switch off of that attachment HUD. That is kind of a useless thing. I mean, I guess it's useful if it's dark out, because it'll tell you what you grabbed. Maybe I should do that next time we have to do a cargo transfer and it's dark out and I can't tell what it is. All right. So let's see. We need to grab the heater. That's the first thing that we should grab. This is a very heavy object, so we can't move it very quickly. But we're going to drop it right in front of that water storage tank. And right next to the solar panel electrical line. You can see how white the sun is, specifically ROM. There's a lot of white glow starlight reflecting off of the cargo unit there. Instead of the yellow sun like we're used to, it's white because of the F star.
Unpacking cargo.
Okay, and that pretty much just sits as it is. I mean, it's a heater. You basically plug it in, and then you plug the pipe in. It doesn't really have to expand at all. All right, so the next thing we need is the machines package. So that's going to be electrolyzer and compressor. That is over here. Pick that up. Oh, I did not grab the right thing. Not sure why that happened. We were definitely closer to the machines package one over here. Right, now we've got it. We're going to put this kind of near the tank, but going in this direction because we're heading towards the assembly line now at this point. So once we melt our water and get it stored up, then we have to split it into hydrogen and oxygen. And it looks like, yes, we've just had the second glitch that I've had with these cargoes, which is it just goes flying off into space. That was the machines package 102. We can get it back. Yeah, that's what it's doing. Yeah, there we go. Nice try, but no, you're sticking with us. Alright, so we build that, and now we get this double unit here. One of these is an electrolyzer, so we'll go ahead and insert this just after the tank. The other one of these is a compressor, and that will store the gas for us in the high pressure tank. Really? 2 in 1? Okay, joke's on me, because as soon as I said we can do this the hard way, well, the game decides to crash on me. And it's like, you know what? The hard way is not going to work for you. I'm shutting you down. But anyway, we're back, so we've got just about everything we need. It's just the tanks at this point. Need to build the 2 tanks and set those out. Connect those to the compressor. One of those will be for the hydrogen, and we'll make it on the side that we're on now. And then on the other side, we'll have the oxygen tank, and that's where the control module is going to be. So set this down with G and press U.
Unpacking cargo.
And then all we got to do is just maneuver this guy up to the machine's package point. One more tank, and that's for the liquid oxygen. I'll take that.
Unpacking cargo.
Almost done. It's just the control module at this point that remains. We've been working pretty hard to build this thing for some time, so we take a look at the O2 time remaining. Oh yeah, we still got over 90 minutes left. Obviously, in real life, you're not pressing a button to unpack something. To set something like this up, not even on NASA's time, but on like warp speed time, would be like a week. NASA time, you'd probably need 2 months. All right, we'll go ahead and step this thing back to build it. A little ways away from the tank. We do have a hose, and I don't like the idea of an explosive tank right next to me. Set that down, and you. All right. There we go. There's our control base. And now we can verify that the base is safe. Oxygen-wise, with, let's use Alt-X first.
Analyzing. Atmospheric pressure nominal.
All right, we're good. So we actually did use a quarter of our oxygen in order to do that, which is actually pretty impressive. So we'll have, I think last time we only put one person in the base, so this time we'll have Maria Montoya join Constance, and then, let's see, who is the third? Karen Frall. We'll have Karen hop into the base as well. Okay, it looks like the MMU skin updated. That's half white. Half right. That's what I meant to say.
Analyzing. Atmospheric pressure nominal.
Okay, also good. Despite that little amount of time that Maria Montoya spent outside, that ended up using 8% of the oxygen. All right, and actually, wait a minute. Yeah, Constance is European. Yeah, so all right, so Constance, what's it called? MMU? No, MMU would be when you have the suit on. Whatever, the mesh looks good for Constance, but Maria Montoya, that's wrong in both race and gender. All right. Lastly, Viking Rover. I think we should be able to press C, and then we don't want to load cargo. That's a big mistake. Tear the base apart. E. There we go. Get Karen Frall outside. Her job the whole time has been just driving it, so we're just now using the oxygen. What is that on the horizon? I guess it's a star. Looks like a tank for a second there. Alright, then we'll have to figure out what awkward position we want to leave these three individuals in that are all randomly standing with their arms at their sides.
Analyzing. Atmospheric pressure nominal.
Alright, let's take a look at Karen's. Yep, you have the same thing. That's wrong. Oh well. With these orbiter meshes, you have to accept 1 out of 3, and I really mean that. Alright guys, so this is it. Vacuum Base 2. I could demo it, but I've already done it in the previous episode, and I want to keep this one short. If you want to see what it looks like gathering rocks and smelting those down, check out episode 4.5, the very end of that. Otherwise, this is Vacuum Base 2. And just to recap, if we go over to the Leif Erikson 2 and take a look.
System reset.
Yeah, we need to refuel. We're almost out of fuel. That's exactly what a base is for, right? If we take a look at Thalassa, which is Eta Crucis 7, you'll see if I go to spaceports, we've got OB1, Ocean Base 1. If I go to Gold Rock, codename 7-1, and go to spaceports, you'll see Vacuum Base 1. And if I go to Gold Rock and go to select, now we've got Vacuum Base 2. So in the Oceanstar star system, that is Eta Crucis, we now have 3 operable bases. So the next time, our objectives are going to be, well, I guess in between. We're going to spend the next week or so collecting in situ resources. We're going to stick those into the Leif Erikson 2, fill up its tanks again. Meanwhile, while that's going on, we're going to have another team clearing some rocks out of the way. We're going to make a landing pad the same way we made for VB1. We'll make a proper landing pad so that we can land on that. And then that will streamline operations from place to place. And so now we're going to talk about the plan for next time. It was very clear to me that we need to perfect the silver rock to gold rock transfer. We ended up using a mid-course correction maneuver that was the same amount of fuel as the prime maneuver, which was bad. So the way we're going to rectify that is we're going to do a half direct, half Hohmann. So we're going to use 50% of the delta V is going to be in the Hohmann, half of it is going to be direct, that is the outward direction, and we're going to try that. So we're going to fill up the Leif Erikson 2. We're going to fly it alone back to Silver Rock and fill up. We can be rescued if we run out of fuel, but if all goes well, we should be able to get there. And once that happens, we're going to go for one of the Shepherd moons. We're going to continue for Shepherd Moon 1, which is around the ring system of Thalassa. And that should be pretty exciting. So we'll get there, and it's going to be very small. That moon is a tiny asteroid. It's going to be just like landing on a landing pad, or almost even docking. It's going to be hardly any fuel to get there, at least land on it. And if the fuel permits, we're going to make a straight return back here, Vacuum Base 2. If not, then we'll go to Vacuum Base 1, which will be less fuel. And it's going to be an ambitious, higher risk mission in terms of fuel use. Anticipating that the transfer to Silver Rock from Gold Rock is going to take approximately 51% of the tank plus 2 bay tanks. So we're going to have to include the bay tanks. And then the trip out to the Shepherd 1 moon and then back to Gold Rock is going to take 73%. If we decide to go back to Silver Rock instead, that lowers about 10% to about 63%. Again, that's with the bay tanks. Very important that we use those, because if we don't, we're going to run out of fuel, which, depending on where we run out, as long as we're not at a critical phase of flight, that should be just fine. What we'll do is we'll just have the Space Viking mothership come rescue us. So thank you all for joining me. This has been Oceanstar episode 5.5, and we've built Vacuum Base 2, almost finished. Just need to do the landing pad over the next week and fill up the tanks. So that's it for this episode. I've been Dr. Aeronautics, and I will see you all next time, where we get to fly to Shepherd Moon 1 and see the rings. Bye-bye.
1 week later.
Fuel hatch open. Refueling systems online.